Very little Cassio since the early weeks.
I think it's because Azir like started getting banned less, and it just seems like people perceive Azir as the better champion. That's my theory.
It feels like Azir wins the all-ins in the trading matchups most of the time, as long as he doesn't get stunned by the Cassio.
By the way, you were close. It's Chad, not Brad. But I mean, basically, you know, the same.
Best kind of the same.
Basically, not technically. That would be incorrect, but. Either way, we're going to move on from the name theories. We are here with teammates' first pick being Rek'Sai, as Gragas was banned. That ban's going to pull a bunch of weight as they're going to get an early pressure jungler. One of the most successful champions for Porpoise. When teammate went on that pretty long win streak towards the back half of the spring split, there was a lot of Rek'Sai games in a row from Porpoise. So already looking like things that history have shown to be good.
Definitely. And I wonder if we're going to see Otter go for the old Sivir. There's been a very high priority put on that pick, but there's Kalista still available as well, so there wasn't one of those single bans.
Oh, I'm going to say it's mid Annie. Or it's jungle Nautilus.
Here are the possible combinations.
Or top Nautilus. Go ahead, go. Just go.
Possible combinations. Plenty of possible. Support Nautilus, which means the possible combinations are top and mid Annie. Top Annie could be a thing. Or mid lane Annie, which means Nautilus could go support, jungle, or top. That's probably it. Still a lot of combinations.
Yep. Yeah, Annie's got 3 roles. You could technically see top Annie. Yeah, Annie's got 2 main roles. Nautilus has got 2 to 3. We'll see where it ends up going, but
either one of them can go 3 different places.
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be fun. We're going to stop with the permutations for now. It's a lot of numbers overall. 3 choose 2, something like that. I'm sure I'm wrong here, but teammate to make some choices for themselves. Either way, they expect a couple of different options here, and they're going to get actually my favorite duo lane in League of Legends, or one of my top 3, I would say. Morgana Kalista, I think, is so incredibly potent. You can trigger the Sentinel passive, and she's also really good by being thrown into the team through Fate's Call. So a scary duo lane for teammate. Niana Dota could have a high impact this game.
Didn't even mention the best part. It's like impossible to kill either one of them.
Also true.
Yeah, because Morgana can always just black shield the Kalista so Kalista walks away and then get thrown back in.
Yeah, well, it's because I never die, so I don't think about defensive options. I just think of killing people.
It's definitely false statement.
Definitely is. And it looks like I'm trying to see what's going on screen here. It looks like there's a bit of confusion on the NME eSports lineup. We were informed we might pull out of champ select here.
Issue.
But we'll have to see. I mean, maybe Nautilus Annie was an accident and something else was intended to be picked. We'll have to see, though. They're still discussing, and they might pick in their next 2 champions. We'll have official word on that in the near future. 4 seconds for NME eSports' next pick. Olaf. And maybe not on purpose. Maybe it is. I mean,
I was going to wonder why Trashy is sitting on Ghost as a summoner spell. There feels like there's some confusion going on in the teammate.
Looks like we're good. We're told problem resolved. They're going to play these champions. And Trashy's running Ghost on Olaf. That might, in fact, be him playing Olaf jungle. Saber's, of course, a good combo for that. And a bunch of hard engage with Nautilus Annie to set up Olaf big plays. Looks legit.
Nautilus top.
If Huni played Nautilus, would be a Fnatic comp.
Let's do predictions right here. Nautilus top,
Annie.
Support. Inox has played so many poke champions.
Yeah. No, it's too physical heavy. Kog'Maw's still up, actually. You could play that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it fits like comps. Like, I'm not exactly sure what the Cog synergies are. I think he's probably good with everything. Yeah, I would say not Jace, probably not Nidalee, but I think Cog would work there pretty well. Vladimir and Shen will be the last few pickups for teammates. So I believe Calitroll's second Shen game in as many days. And Golden Glue finds another team fight mid laner, Vladimir, the next one down the list here. And we've got the teammate lineup.
Ooh, I changed my mind. Hecarim top, Annie mid, Nautilus support.
Ooh, that's what your bet is here?
Yeah, if I had to guess, this is what teammates probably been trying to do with these unconventional lock-ins, playing the flex game. Come on, enemy.
What about top lane Morgana support Shen?
That's probably it. No.
You pull a Saint Vicious or Elimination and play a bunch of support Shen games. Yeah, talking about flex picks. We'll see where it ends up being here. NME eSports, 15 seconds left on their final choice here. You're saying mid Annie as a decent chance. We'll see what Inox actually wants to play for this one. Knows he's almost definitely up against a Vladimir here, and looks like that choice
top Nautilus in this case?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're playing support Varus. So a very physical damage heavy composition for NME eSports. They are going for the Varus mid. A lot of wave clear, but they are setting up for an Olaf jungle.
Yeah, so big time tank in the top lane as well to go against another big time tank in the top lane. Nobody will die in that lane, but the rest of the map will be exciting. The big benefit, I was talking with someone else about top lane Nautilus, the big benefit with top lane Nautilus is that you get Nautilus on your team. That's that's pretty much it.
That's a good benefit.
Because he doesn't do much in lane. He has like a little bit of gank assistance. He has no kill pressure. He can usually survive. But it's pretty much just to have Nautilus on your team in team fights.
What I noticed from watching my own couple of Nautilus top games in the pro scene was he felt like the top lane version of support Alistar. Like, his TP ganks are stupid good because he crowd controls you for like 18 seconds flat. And then he just like doesn't do any damage. Like, he can't 1v1 an AD carry in the back line without Thorn Mail. You know, it's not like Jungle Nautilus where at least you get Cinder Hulk to do some damage back. But a big crowd control bot, a lot of damage with the Olaf, I keep wanting to say Veigar, Olaf, Varus, and Sivir, but it's all physical based, which leaves me with a little bit of worry in that eventually the big tanks of Shen with 700 armor just doesn't die anymore. But that's going to be the goal here from NME eSports. Now, guys, let us know who you think is going to come out on top. Tweet at LOL eSports with hashtag T8win or hashtag NME win. Let us know who's going to take this one home because the winner puts themselves up in a tie for 7th or sole possession of 7th if it ends up being NME eSports here. But a move on up for the victor. We'll see if it can happen. We are in a game.
Yeah, Cloud9 sitting on 3 wins currently. So there could be a logjam down there if Team 8 wins against NME because we'd have a bunch of 3-win teams. The armor stacking potential in this matchup is immense for Team 8. Golden Glue can go a fairly early Zonias. Porpoise and Cali Trolls can very easily just stack full armor, which really limits the number of ways in which NME can kill them.
Yeah.
Trashy will not kill them with true damage, I assure you.
There is some incremental magic damage. You have like Inox's W passive, which is some, and at least it's percent health, which kind of matters. Annie does a decent amount of damage for a support, but yeah, nothing that's going to kill a Shen, certainly. Maybe Golden Glue somehow gets burned down, but only one Ignite on the team as well means cutting his healing is also unlikely. At some point, he'll recall and heal himself back up. I can't imagine Vlad wants to fight like this. Yeah, it's funny. If Inox had Ignite, I'm sure Golden Glue wouldn't fight him, but he would nearly kill the guy.
But he knew he didn't.
Yeah,
so,
true.
I mean, why wouldn't you
Body
make
drop
yourself
flashes from the
in recall range?
That's fair.
Not a fan of Golden Glue right there. Definitely unnecessary trades, because if there was an invade planned, NME could have easily brute forced 5 people through.
That's true.
And gotten jungle position.
He's just upping his stats for like damage per game. It's just improperly inflated now. 100% of damage from each team is from Flares and Golden Glue, or Inox and Golden Glue.
See all the action per minute stats that people used to pay so much attention to in StarCraft, where people just spam actions that were useless before it started?
Yeah. When I played Warcraft 3, I made it a point to have 0 APM for minute 2. I just queued up 5 Wisps and let go of my keyboard. And I'd like look and it would be like 2 APM, and I'd be like, I did it. I felt so good about myself. Either way, Nian will get the small Krug. They will stay for the entire camp because it's so damn easy with Ballista. Dodo did start Puddle. And he actually gets the kill on it and actually absorbed all the XP, so Nian actually far from level 2, but Dodo's 1 minion from having Dark Binding.
Yeah, that's a pretty big misplay, I feel like, in Krugs. Most of the time you want to share so both guys hit level 2 at once. Very rarely do you want your support to hit level 2 first. Kalista really wants level 2 first. It'll give Dodo an early bind, though, and since he picked up the experience in the brush, maybe they get a surprise attack, but even then, with a level 1 Yen, they're not going to get much. And the other guys hit level 2.
Yeah, well, Bind on Otto's going to stop the rest of the push. Biter Drop will land a stun, but doesn't mean a whole lot. Coin Annie, by the way, so the harass damage actually a bit less, gives her a lot of sustain, which can matter against the Morgana folk. The thing is, I do like that because it allows Talisman Ascension even earlier than normal. The income's just fine with Coin. You just don't have to sell Spell Thieves, so...
So Ancient Coin gives 25 base mana regen.
Yeah.
No health regen.
It's health on minion kill. As like pseudo HP 5. Yeah, you gain 3 gold and I think like 3 health when a nearby minion dies. 3 gold and 5 health. So
yes, correct. So it is sustained, sorry.
Yeah.
It's just so rare we see that item built in competitive play early on in the match. We see so many people trade it out later.
Yeah.
Especially in a 2v2 laning scenario.
Yeah, it became a bit more common after the changes, but you're right, it's still not the most popular one. Once in a while you see it, but either way, moving on from that point, Inox is shoving in early on the Golden Glue, missing about 4 CS on his push, and Vlad going to do what he can to last it under turret with only rank 2 transfusion, going to make that a bit difficult.
Yeah, Golden Glue going to miss a lot of these CS. Early on in the lane, Varus, definite advantages. You could see even from the level 1 shenanigans in the mid lane that Inox is going to have the better half of those trades for quite some time. Golden Glue will have to level up, and he really just has to do survival CS in his turret.
Yeah. Of course, eventually that matchup flips around when Spell Vamp comes in for Vladimir, and there's no easy lifesteal items for Varus to buy. There's too many core items he needs earlier.
Yep.
So Sustain flips over maybe 10, 12 minutes into the game and becomes a difficult road for NME eSports. But that's not here, that's not yet. 300 gold lead just from the early laning phase. Otter lost his recall. Otter got forced to stay. They wanted a recall for Pickaxe. It was 950 gold for the AD carry.
Yeah,
that's going to get stymied.
Now he's pretty low, too. That's a really critical puddle by Dodo right there.
Yeah.
Especially because Otter didn't realize it immediately and ended up also taking a couple Callista autos. So Simmer's whole thing in the lane is to be able to shove in again and again and again and again, which is why he wanted Pickaxe to kind of preempt any item breakpoints and never fall behind again in the shoving war. But he just fell behind.
Golden Glue did puddle the first axe toss, so he actually had to burn Ghost to get away. I think holding on to that cooldown a little bit too long. Loses Summoner, loses some health for it. Again, a fight in the bot lane. Body drop gets the Sentinel popped on him. A great spell shield. Otter will stop the piercing Javelin toss. But a couple of nice rends by Nian still put some damage through. Otter very low on health here.
Yeah.
Again, the binding.
You can see the pressure in this lane switched around. Now would be a time for some recalls, but neither guy really wants to go back. They're 1,200 gold right now, which is 300 shy of what they want for the BS sword.
Well, NME eSports also have a health lead now. Dodo's out of potions. That coin from Annie is starting to really matter here, as with no pots left, Annie stays healthier. 80 carries are at basically identical health. It will be the Team 8 recall. They got to shove it in first, and that'll require interesting maintenance. It's still 2 waves away for NME eSports. If they stay, the wave they recall on is the wave Team 8 shows up, and can make that recall actually really awkward. So they choose not to go for that one. Otter recalls right away for Pickaxe and maybe Boots. Vamp Scepter and Boots for Nian's Callista can continue to play aggressively. Top lane matchup, small lead for Flares. Mid lane basically equal off the Golden Glue recall. And we're at a roughly tied game.
I'm happy we're watching the top lane right now. Just to kind of show you how no one is ever going to be low in this lane. Like, they aren't going to be doing damage to each other unless they really want to take damage. The shields for both these guys can hardly be up.
Good flash. Oh no, Dodo missed it. Didn't expect the flash binding. Won't matter though. Inox certain to fall. Dodo claims the kill, but either way, a great roam for first blood.
Yeah, nice timing there, because right as the recalls happen, that's a lot of times what a support should do, and that's actually the benefit of teammate recalling first. They knew they wouldn't have to be in lane for the presence right off the bat, gave him a perfect time to go in for the roam, but honestly, it seemed like Porpoise and Golden Glue had it on lockdown.
Didn't even need the binding Dodo just to get the gold, and level 5
kill.
Bind over the wall. Nice.
Whoa.
That's a change that we made a few months ago, where you will see skill shots in a certain range of you if they're headed at you.
Even if you don't see the orc in front of the cast.
It was basically a Nidalee nerf, essentially. Because you'd see so many javelins hit you from nowhere, and it's like, yeah, you know, we're just going to draw them for you. So, goodbye, Otter. Still shields that in time. Battling back to equal. So, first blood, how much will this affect Team 8? And it's an awkward recall for Inox. Tyr and a longsword, not amazing for him. Golden Glue without summoners, but still scaling up happily. Rushes the arm guard to then go into spell vamp, which I find interesting, but just the armor to stay alive in the lane. Top lane fight. Ooh, actually, that's some damage. That's actually some damage.
Flares.
Yeah.
Calm down, man. You're going crazy. I mean, with points into Riptide, though.
Oh, what a good taunt, though. 2 turret shots.
With points into Riptide, that's 180 damage every 5 seconds. And Flares has the Catalyst for sustain. Calitrolls has the Vorpal for sustain. With how low they are now, they're actually putting themselves in vulnerability for a gank.
And Trashy's coming, but he's running out of Porpoise. Porpoise, like, hey, wait a second, that's an Olaf. Will not kill the ward, though. Forces Trashy away. Will he kill it in time?
Ooh.
Yep.
Nice.
Ooh, and spots the pink ward. Trashy might lose a whole lot of vision. Orber's still playing defensively. We're going to go donate the blue buff over to himself, probably. Vlad doesn't need it. Actually, no one's really using blue buff on this entire team. There's 3 energy or resource users.
I remember Team 8 is the team that actually beat TDK. It's one of their, NME.
Yeah.
Team 8's 2 victories are from the 2 newest acquisitions to the LCS, one against NME, one against TDK. It would be great for them if they could go 2-0 up in this. That would also mean they definitively hold the head-to-head tiebreaker against NME should they have identical records at the end of the split.
Yeah.
Not only would it equalize them in the standings, it actually puts them ahead of NME.
Well, certainly something to watch for. Of course, NME had gotten one of their wins over Gravity, one of them was over Cloud9, so maybe they move on up in the standings, but Flares forces Flash away. The ganks from Porpoise now have burned 2 flashes and gotten his team a first blood, so far this Rek'Sai play has been good. The Olaf ganks have only burned a Ghost once, and with all the gank pressure, it's a gold lead for Porpoise.
Yeah. Ultimately, this NME team wants to find a group of people. They want to Sivir ult in with a Nautilus ult and have everyone just dive into a giant pool of pain. But doing that against a Vladimir is actually pretty difficult because as you're funneling in as a group, Vladimir will just hit you with pretty much all of his AoE, Hemoplague, E, and then pool right as you're trying to go in. So it's really difficult to dive through, not to mention the Morgana and Kalista that have great disengage. So thinking about this as far as what NME wants to do for win conditions versus what Team 8 can do to stop that, Team 8 is pretty well prepared. It's just, not to mention they can also armor stack. So I feel like NME has to just really snowball this game.
Oh, we'll see if they can do that. Trashy Porpoise in a battle. Porpoise wanted to fight, but here's the Shen ulti. Trashy forced to run. Pops Ghost, pops the ult. Shen has to wait 2 more seconds for the taunt, but gets rooted before it can happen. And here's the TP back in from Flares. Who is he going to ult? He goes for Porpoise. They don't want Calitrolls. They go for the jungler. Porpoise will die, and the kill goes to Otter, thankfully for NME eSports fans. Teammate forced to run away. The better of this battle definitely goes NME's way.
Yeah, that was mostly ideal for NME because they didn't have to do anything through Vladimir, and Golden Glue doesn't have his items yet, so they could group up and run straight at Porpoise right there, comboing the teleport Nautilus ult into a kill.
Yoda puts the puddle down. There's always a chance it steals. Bind, easy smite. Okay, it was down to take it back, but Trashy lands it with the QE. Rank 1 Reckless Swing, I'm pretty certain that it was enough. So no steal, Dragon 1 goes to NME eSports. Gold basically back and tied up.
Golden Glue is near impossible to push out of the lane here.
Yeah. Even before he's got the spell ramp as well.
So, something that happened yesterday to Calitrolls' Shen is, I believe he was against
TSM.
He was against Dyrus's Gnar, and he had pretty much no lane pressure, so he could never set up a split push opportunity that he could teleport into. Anytime Calitrolls would leave the lane, they would basically lose a turret. That problem won't be as evident against this Nautilus, just because now that he has a Spectrus Cow in his build, the magic damage coming out from Nautilus is mostly inconsequential, and he can't shove much faster than Shen can. So therefore, Calitrolls is free to use his ultimate just like he did there and not be punished pressure-wise. A much better environment to play Shen in.
Yeah, there's plenty of CCs for the channel, but you're absolutely right as far as turret pressure goes. So we'll see if...
Yeah, 1,000,000 CCs.
Yeah, even the auto attack will do it. In fact, here comes Porpoise. The flash already down from Flares. He's got nowhere to go. Nice anchor block. The kill goes to Calitrolls.
Yep.
And the Vorpal takes him down. First kill the board for the teammate top laner this game. Map pressure is in the top lane and no response at all from the Olaf.
Yeah. Flares, probably too caught up in the ridiculous nature of this matchup that he forgot to respect the jungler in this case. And it's the second time he came by. He's so pushed up in lane, cannot anchor toss through if he doesn't keep his lead on them.
I'm going to try to fight him though. Enemy could have gone for the 2-man push in the mid lane. Instead, all they do is save 4 minion kills and a bit of damage in the top turret. But honestly, Olaf and Varus were in the mid lane. Golden Glue recalled. They could have actually gone for turret damage and chose to push mid for the top gank.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sold on enemy's choice right there to run top for basically nothing. And even let Golden Glue shove in mid and deny a bit of gold from Inox. He's now stacking his man to Moonay, so at least that growth has started. right now. 239 of 750 mana. That's going to be a long road ahead for the Varus mid.
Ninja Tabi on Golden Glue, and Zonius will be his first item. He's already sitting on 119 armor.
Oh, wow.
Calitroll's already sitting on 123. Going Sunfire Cape as his first item. And Porpoise will most likely go Randwinds for his first major item as well. We mentioned it before, NME kind of has to get either a big lead in this game or they'll lose to the armor stacking of Team 8, and they are currently behind before the armor stacking has even really kicked in.
That's true. Yeah. 300 gold deficit for NME eSports. Mid still getting cleared back in fourth. Inox, one of the big star carries of NME eSports, really not having any advantages to speak of. In fact, has a death thanks to Porpoise's ganks. AD carry Otter also only splitting gold, and even Flare is forced to run away from Calitroll's in battles. A nice taunt into some more damage coming through, and the sustain from Vorpal Blade making Flare slowly but surely lose out in this lane.
Yeah, constant pressure from Porpoise's Rek'Sai. Pressure building up in the mid lane as well, as Golden Glue able to clear these waves before Inox can really fight back.
Oh, and a hard engage with the bot lane. Bodydrop has no one to save him. Easy kill picked up by Nian. I want to see that one again, but the 2v1, Annie had no reason to be there with Sivir recalled. Good pickup, I assume. Wasn't even Fate's call. Dota just found him without flash.
Yeah, that...
Must have been a bind?
It was a baited recall by Team 8. So NME, Bodydrop was actually trying to disrupt a recall because he thought one of them was going to be gone and he was just trying to be cheeky, but it ends up costing him his life. He's done this actually a few times this game when they're both going to try and recall because he tried to disrupt it. Hasn't worked out yet. This time it's punishing.
He's going to try to disrupt Nian right here. Ghost from Olaf used as well. A lot of move speed. Shen comes in, but it's going to be a lot of damage coming through. Callista will die out of the turret, but Shen has arrived in the backline. Otter pops Summon Heal to run away, and Trashy gonna do what damage he can, but Otter got bound. Calitroll flashes in for the kill. Dodo gets the credit. A late TP from Flares. He will ult on a Calitroll. Trashy's about out of mana though. A good hook to buy some time, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough. A dark binding hits. Trashy is completely TP means nothing, and Rek'Sai holds top lane.
They burn a lot of stuff. They end up trading 1-for-1 now, but they're going for a continuation dive.
Re-engage, stun into Ignite, Black Shield used, but doesn't really block much. More damage coming in, the auto attack, Body Drop gets the kill. A flash bind from Flares, 2 auto attacks till Dodo dies, but no range left to get it. Clears a wave, Rek'Sai still pushing top though, might equalize the turrets.
Yeah, NME might end up losing 2 turrets for 1 out of this engagement. Yes, they dove and got through. Porpoise pushed that. There's been a Vladimir mid lane for quite some time. This is another one of those trades that may not have been worth for NME, getting a little bit bloodthirsty under the turret.
Yeah, for the second time, Inox leaves his lane to do something, and that something barely means anything except his own turret getting pushed down. Golden Glue a hit away from killing it. No one's in range to knock him down, so teammate still well poised to take a lot of this map away. 1,200 gold lead for them. Body Drop on the flank, not going to find a stun. And we settle back down with a fairly equal trade, all things considered.
Yeah, and now NME decides to rotate up, try and maybe preempt this. Golden Glue's got pretty good wave clear, especially with the Black Shield to allow him to get close to the wave. It's a bit of a pretty interesting game right here. Flare's caught top lane, though, with no teleport. It's going to make it very difficult for NME to hold this stead.
Yeah, Calitroll has his, so he can even match the Nautilus very simply. Not expecting, not a fast pusher either, so certainly a long time to go. A lot of room had. Frozen Heart completed here for the Nautilus, though. CDR will be at least an offensive stat with how low the Riptide cooldown is. In a long enough fight, that kind of starts to matter, I guess. Trashy goes on the Sentinel. Dragon levels up. And NME eSports are going to send their top laner down to the side. Calitroll, though, still not split pushing. Again, he has teleport. Finally heads to the top lane here. He will join that wave as it reaches his turret. And the lane's better pressured by teammate. NME go for the early dragon attempt. The mid laner is actually still stuck there. Vladimir far away as well. This could be rushed down in time. Porpoise could try to join to smite this one away. 1,100 health goes in, and the smite comes through. Trashy gets it, forced rolls away. Binding hits Flares, who had already been in this, the correct spot for Calitroll's front line. Nian gets jumped out of the back line, and ulti in from Nautilus, and Timbers takes him down. Bodydrop gets the kill. Trashy traded back on. Out goes Porpoise, pops Vladimir in the mid of it all. 2 kills for 2. Inox forced to run away. Who's going to get what? Ghost keeps him safe. Vlad still the chase. 2 kills for 2. Dragon to NME eSports. All fair.
Yeah, Calitroll's a little bit late to the party. He spent so much time walking up to that giant wave only to have to teleport back down. So NME really wanted to force the 5v5 immediately there, knowing that they'd be able to burn the teleport and make teammates sacrifice the wave in the top lane. And that fight was very messy, just like the rest of these fights are going to be very messy. There's a lot of bruisers in this game, tons of tanks, NME very much just a run-at-you team composition, and teammates trying to stop from being run upon with a lot of counter-engage. So more fights like this is what we'll see here. Obviously, teammate goes in strong. Vladimir and Varus are a little late to this fight on the sides. Vladimir's not even really here, which gave NME a chance to win this fight. They kill Mian right away, but then Golden Groot does enter the fight, and you can really see the power of Vladimir, not even with Zhonya's right there, because of how Groot NME is going to be and how all of Vladimir's spells, aside from his Q, are going to be massively AoE focused. It's going to be a hard game for NME to win.
Absolutely agree. It's actually surprising a bit that teammate chose to even be in that battle, considering once the armor stack comes through, there's almost no way to lose a team fight. Flair's still battling Calitrolls and actually stopping the wave push, but Ballista had already jumped the wall, looking for a flank. Problem is, NME kind of have some resources here. Looks like nothing really doing. Ballista joins the team again. Calitrolls to recall. His ulti's back up, so once again split pushing can happen for Shen. But before he gets there, Sivir's already pushing the top lane. Doesn't stay to knock the turret down. He could have gotten some serious damage in.
Yeah. I think he just wants to respect the Vladimir a little bit. He can't tango with a level 13 Vlad.
Gets it anyway. All right.
Gets it anyway.
The local gold.
Speaking of low health turrets, during the replay, Nien did take down the mid lane turret as well, placed a ward afterwards, which was nice and smart too, so they can see through the lane. Those are actually my favorite wards. Yeah. As far as low cost, high value, especially if you have an upgraded yellow trinket, just place them on dead turrets or in the lane. It creates so many vision opportunities.
Just don't put it near the alive one, because the true side will kill it. I've made that mistake enough times to just be mindful of where it goes down, but for all the bad warders out there like me. All right, well, NME eSports with the vote lead in this one, despite the fact that they had lost the matchup against teammate about 3 weeks ago. Hard engage comes in, nice early black shield from Dodo, and of course you can't focus the support of a Kalista. Flair's caught up on a turret, but the re-engage comes back through, and in comes Dodo, two-man ulti in. They're gonna turn right back out of the Morgana. A lot of CC comes in, the stun still lands on a body drop, supports get traded back and forth. Corvus in the front line, the double 80 carries are around. Yeah, gets chunked out actually, keep in mind. The squishies can still get poked away. You have to be in auto attack range to lifesteal.
Nien and Dodo definitely have to respect the physical damage. They're not allowed to stack armor right now because they don't have the gold to. And interesting flash in there by Dodo to try and proc the soul shackles. He got pretty punished. I don't think teammate needed to die for that. They still could have picked up the kill, but because they did and because Nien got chunked out, this could still end up being a successful scene for NME.
No, it hasn't been too much, unfortunately, as Calitrolls walked to the bottom lane afterwards and knocked that outer turret down as well, which means all three outers have now been killed for teammate. You're right about Dodo getting punished. He had the Shen ult on him, so he thought he'd be maybe just durable enough to make it work. You also talked about Dodo not having armor yet. He's going for Forbidden Idol, which is a component of the Mikhail's Crucible, if I understand properly. So still going for a very utility-focused Morgana, not a frontlining Zhonya's one.
Or even just some health.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I would like that because he needs to kind of stand there as NME walks through them. So he needs to be able to take a few ricochets and maybe the sides of a Tibbers damage in order to be successful. As of now, if he's going to go Talisman, he can't actually ult inside people. He needs to just peel back, land bindings, and maybe ult one person. But he can never get in the fray. He
could like ult to peel, but it's a Nautilus and an Olaf, one of which you don't care about peeling, the other one you can. So yeah, target selection gonna be hard for Dodo 8. Long range bindings can be cool, and he's got the movement speed to boost his team in, which, you know, either from kiting away from Olaf or simply jumping into the face of Sivir. We'll see what that ends up being. Golden Glue, though, is being the split pusher. Now, he is teleportless. Calitrolls has 2 globals, Golden has 0, and it's going to be the Vladimir running top lane. Now, Dragon's in 45 seconds, which means Vlad's going to have to switch lanes soon, I would say, as Flair's has his own TP up. Otter shoving in against Calitrolls, but Otter has no reason to be anywhere but bottom lane. And in fact, Calitrolls going to have a tricky time winning a battle like this.
Yeah.
You can spell shield the taunt and not get wrecked by the turret.
Calitrolls got to be careful. Interesting how Teammate had rotated so many people up towards the top side. They lost control of their own jungle. This is an opportunity for NME to take something. Got to be somewhat careful of the flank.
Yeah, this is just given for free. NME was pushing the correct lane. Vladimir had recalled, and Porpoise Wall jumped on Channel, not gonna matter. Just taking him down, a misrotation, and the re-engagement with Calitrolls, they dodge the stun, they dodge the taunt, he flashed away. Dodo forced away from this fight, and Golden Glue shows up only to ghost and run away. The slow lands from Trashy, the ulti gonna force Calitrolls away. Black Shield used very conveniently, and a quick pause into this game. We'll see what that one's about, but Porpoise Pop's very much in the wrong spot here. And NME getting a much better set of choices in this one.
Yeah, I don't blame Teammate for pausing right here. There's a play earlier in the year where Slushy was playing Azir and they thought there was a bug, but didn't pause because of it, because they were just afraid of pausing. Anytime an LCS player suspects a bug, they're allowed to pause to try and review whether it actually was a bug. That's probably what this is for, because it's immediately after team fight, or maybe his keyboard just died.
Calitrolls, I was told Calitrolls said he had frame rate issues, so it may
not
be
even
a
a bug.
client restart, could be a computer restart. I don't think anything frame rate wise would have hurt him here. He channeled on a Rek'Sai who died through the shield, so I don't think it would have had any effect on the fight regardless, but that is what I'm told Calitrolls said to the ref, forwarding it on to you guys. And so now to recap the state we are in the game. We're 24 minutes in, 7-7 in kills, 3-3 in turrets, 0-2 in dragons, small lead. Of course, you can see the scorelines up there, but the tiniest of leads for NME eSports. Yeah,
and that last fight was kind of ideal for NME. It was really not well coordinated by Teammate. Porpoise basically was trying a flank, but no one was in position to actually arrive, because if we're looking at the armor stacking Teammate right now, just as an armor update, Calitrolls 191 armor, Porpoise 144 armor, and even Golden Glue has 143 armor. Just one last whisper on Inox. Otto's not doing much damage, Trashy's not doing much damage, and Flares is just a pure tank who does a bit of magic damage, but basically physical damage is 80% of their damage sources, and it's being heavily built against by Teammate. So in an actual 5v5 where both teams are there, NME's probably losing. But they need to use their Nautilus ultimate, their Ghosted Olaf, and their Sivir ult to just pile in for team fights. And that's kind of what they're able to do there, because they caught Teammate thinking about a flank and struck first.
Right, and with the people put in the wrong lanes as well, Golden Glue was top lane for a bit, showed up late to the fight, wasn't part of the whole battle, so NME eSports capitalizing well. We are swapping the PC of Calitrolls, so as that happens, we're going to throw it over to our analyst desk to break down the game further.
Thank you, gentlemen. Unfortunately, a little technical difficulties, but it gives us some time to discuss what's happening as of right now. I know first off, we'd like to talk about the top lane Nautilus a little bit. So, Zyrene, I'm just going to hand it over to you and let you go.
So, Jat was just talking about how it's 80% physical damage on this team from NME.
Maybe even more.
Maybe even more. But this top laner is Nautilus, right? He has a lot of magic damage in his kit, and all the top Nautiluses we've seen to this point have built Rod of Ages first. He does not need a Righteous Glory. If you look down there, you can see Trashy already has one. He should have gone Rod of Ages right off the bat. I'm having a little rant about this because I think that they need this magic damage or it's going to come and bite them in the ass later on, because right now they're looking at a physical damage outlook. Also, the fact that he's shoving these waves, he could have shoved them a little faster. He might have even had that kill down bottom against the Morgana earlier when he was just hitting him. Like, I really would have liked to see a Rod of Ages here, but the way that the game is going, can't knock up too hard for it. It's even right now, but the fact that they haven't gotten a large advantage, the physical damage part is going to come into effect.
Yeah, you know, even with it being even right now, there's nowhere for them to really go. They've built themselves into a Varus comp. That's why whenever I see the Varus mid, I'm always expecting something like a Rumble top or a Corki for your AD carry at the very least. But comboing Sivir with Varus, their end game, they just don't have many options with this end game here.
I think especially scary too when you look on the other side of the map and you see a Shen.
Also, a Vladimir, like Golden Glue's all over this. He's like, you know what? All right, Zonya's rushed. I got Ninja Tabby as well. He's just going to stay in there and sustain through the entire team because they're all tanks. You're never going to kill that Vladimir. This is one of the reasons we saw Vladimir come to prominence in the Cinderhulk meta. A whole bunch of tanks. You can't burst him down, so he gets his rotation off over and over and over and over again, and you never kill him.
Well, they have a damage dealer with Olaf who will deal true damage, and that's countered by HP. It's like, that's, it's a big problem here that I think they're going to run into, and Kalista's going to get double lifesteal at some point as well. So I don't see them, if this game gets drawn out, taking down this teammate lineup.
Well, right. So we're only 24 minutes into the game. It hasn't quite gotten to that point where, you know, it's a lost cause. We can't do the damage. We can't get through people. And as Jad and Freak mentioned, the most recent engagement went in favor of NME in the bot lane. And it looks like maybe that's the way they're going to have to tackle this game, using the speed and mobility of Sivir to move around the map and just take turrets, almost avoid those straight up, you know, longer duration fights.
Yeah, they have better ranged wave clear, right? Like a Vladimir, a Shen, and a Kalista, they had to get kind of close to actually clear waves, so your sieging option is better on the side of enemy. So you can siege and then dive with an Olaf, get that extra Ragnarok movement speed that was added on to it very recently, and just dive straight into the backline. They have the Righteous Glory to do it. They have the Talisman of Ascension. So setting up, pushing side waves, and then abusing the wave clear is a really good thing to do with this team comp.
We only have about another minute or so until that PC is fully swapped out. So, you know, continuing down the line, let's hop over onto Team 8's side, in which we see, you know, some catches, or some people getting caught out, rather. We saw Porpoise get caught a few times. They still seem very disjointed, having lost Slushy in the mid lane.
Oh, yeah.
Well, right as I say that, we're ready to go back. So I'm going to cut you guys off after I ask you a question. The technical issues have been resolved, so we're going to send it back over to our casters to get us back onto the Rift.
Rude.
Well, thank you very much, Rude Dash, but we are here to cast the rest of the game. 6-minute pause, but looks like the players say they are ready. We're getting right back into it. Just to point out real quick, I know Zyrene talked about Rod of Ages Nautilus. I haven't seen it on every single Nautilus. There was one in Korea, I think it was... I want to say Smeb, but I'm probably wrong in this one, who actually did just Righteous Glory, and he just did no damage. The reason I actually like Frozen Heart, though, is 20 CDR is 20% bonus damage, essentially, when you're cooldown-based, which would have been more Riptide damage per second than Rod of Ages Riptide.
Yeah, I think the idea is you build both, but in this case, teammate trying to sneak a Baron, while enemy get Dragon number 3. It's going to be interesting. They don't have very fast Baron damage. Enemy is on the run. This would be another way that enemy could win a fight, is if teammate takes all the damage to Baron.
Yep.
Instead, they peel off.
Yeah, enemy knows about it. They actually rushed the home guards on Otter. He recalled and was like, oh crap, 475 gold, get me back here. So Dragon attempt successful, Baron not taken. Enemy getting farther ahead now as they knock down that bottom tier 2 from the previous fight. And have, even though the gold doesn't say it, I would say enemy feel ahead. Even though we've talked about the late game team fights being difficult.
Yeah. It's still an interesting game. We know how much is on the line as far as positioning here. Teammate needing to win to tie in wins against enemy, but it will give him a 2-0 head-to-head on the year. And I still feel this weird tension in this game where, yes, enemy is up in dragons, but they're down in gold, and they're giving themselves all these tools to run into a team fight and actually find and engage.
Yeah.
But the later and later it gets, they're going to be running into their own demise because they are kind of out-comped in straight-up 5v5 team fights.
I want to bring something up, though, as a theoretical. Okay, so Golden Glue is building almost overly defensive in that he went Ninja Tabby, right? His damage is like slightly lower than other Vladimir's. Double Righteous Glory, Sivir, Annie, they will just kill Nian or Dota. Hold on, first off, Otter's fighting Golden Glue, running fast as he can. All right, he's fine.
Not quite.
They will straight up kill Dodo and or Nian. Like, for sure. They're going to die when enemy chooses to kill them because you can't stop that, like, dive chain. And then teammate are left with only one damage dealer.
Right.
Shen low damage, Rek'Sai low damage. It's just Vlad. It's at this point just Vlad against double Marksman Olaf. I think you just win that fight at that point. Whether he's got armor or not, Vlad's not going to 1v3 when there's no damage dealers left. That might be how enemy wins fights, but they, of course, have to bypass the front line.
It's the great peeling quest that Dodo and Yen are going to be on.
Good old... Wow, you guys just in range.
That doesn't help.
Nope, Porpoise is getting jumped on. You're seeing the hard dives are working. 3 kills on the body drop. He's actually got the most kills in the team, and they re-find Dodo. He went back to mid. Calitro's also going to try to run away. He taunts out, awkwardly enough, and gets away from himself. Inox still poking in the end, losing even more health.
Hey, that's another fight. We said enemy, if they are to win, it's by finding fights where they have the numbers advantage because they have tools to create numbers advantages with all their initiation. And they get 2 kills right there on Dodo and Porpoise. time to turn to Baron. This could be a major swing, and NME actually pulling out a win here.
Well, the team's going to come defend this one. Golden Glue ghost in, goes for body trap, stunned up, and lost.
Doesn't even have ultimate up right
now. Be
now.
careful, though. There's no jungler, which means the smite should be easy. It goes over to NME eSports, and now the battle continues. Golden Glue has the zone. You get stunned through it, though. Ooh. Can't pop it in time. Explodes, and NME getting 3 kills and a Baron unanswered.
Yeah, and with the way they've been able to catch Team 8 out of position, the next catch could actually lead to the game if they shove down enough turrets right afterwards and get a big enough catch. It's been a story of Team 8's season. They look okay, but they just keep making all these mistakes. They are not coordinated like we expected them to be when they came into the split. Team 8 was the teamwork team that didn't beat people in individual skill, and they'd always have the right calls, and they'd follow Cali Trolls into anything, but it just hasn't been the case.
Yeah, it feels like the teamwork, maybe though it's still there, the calls just haven't been quite as strong as you might expect from Team 8 here. The total Baron stats I actually find quite interesting. NME eSports, you seeing how sometimes scrapped together their wins are. Only 3 Barons for an entire split. For a team with 3 wins, usually rare that they have so little map control for so few of their games that they even get Barons at all. The enemy now with a sizable lead afterwards.
Also notice the really early Black Cleaver onto Inox, recognizing the armor stacking threat, trying his best to help cut through it.
Yeah.
He gets a few autos off, lands an E on a group of people. That's a lot of armor shred, especially when Otter can finish off his last Whisper.
It's actually very intelligent. He never even went for Brutalizer. Yep. Inox fully recognizes the fact that flat armor pen means nothing against this team. Very smart build adaptation. I actually really, really like this. The fact that Inox identified what both teams are going to be doing itemization-wise is super good. Otter with a good black shield, 2, 1, and 4 on him. Body Drop now has 4 of his team's kills. He's literally got double anyone else's. At this point, I feel like he should just buy Sword Shoes or a Void Staff and just wreck people.
Yeah, I would love it if Body Drop took those kills and started building damage. Punish people.
I think Lee Andrews would work well enough.
Yeah. All the health stacking armor tanks.
Yeah, right? Like, who's going to withstand that? But either way, I mean, what's happening right now is certainly working for NME eSports. Bot lane pushing heavily, Nian and Golden Glue playing wave clear. Good damage. Oh, man, yeah. Well, he's down to half, and healing that back up is going to take quite a bit of time. More poke coming through. The siege from NME eSports working.
Pressure is really on, and because they have the map control with this Baron buff, even if they don't get a siege, it'll still mean Dragon number 4. And if they end up getting the 5 dragons, it won't matter if the other team's armor stacking because of that 5th dragon buff.
Flares is going Abyssal for his ability power item, so not just the Roa to get a faster Frozen Heart and adds ability power later on with a flat pen item, so cute stuff there. Choice. Yeah. Amplifies the rest of the team's magic damage, as little as there is. Ooh. I will let you guys know, by the way, at the end of this, what the percentage of damage on the champions is. Physical magic true.
The thing is, it'll be skewed by the armor stacking.
Yeah, of course.
Magic damage always gets through if you never build for it, which is always interesting. But there's a few people that have even built for magic resist. Spectre's Cal sitting on
Cal for the lane matchup, yeah. Well, mid lane still getting pushed, or not mid lane, sorry, the bot lane getting pushed around, but Nautilus had a bit of free reign up to the top side. Kelly Trolls finally sent to defend, and of course, the taunt makes it difficult for players to siege successfully. Rek'Sai ult comes in, Corvus will try to chase Nautilus away. They hope.
Why would they Rek'Sai ult there when Dragon is respawning? They had a tunnel behind the Dragon Pit if they were ever going to contest that. This does nothing.
Muted it. I mean, if Team 8 thought they couldn't possibly take Dragon or fight for it, they said, well, maybe we kill Flares and do something else at the time. But certainly, neither happens. NME eSports 4 Dragons to 0. Now they kill minions even faster, which means Sivir and Varus really, really one-shot minion waves now.
Yep. Tides are turning back towards NME's favor. It seemed like, compositionally-wise, the armor stacking would be able to do it, but NME has picked up enough advantages off of just grouping and mobbing to a disorganized Team 8 that are getting picked off one after the other, and now maybe the strengths have turned. You know, there's not much damage on Golden Glue or Nian. To your point, they did build a little defensively, but mainly, there is damage now on NME. They've built their last Whispers. This is their mini power spike before the ultimate armor stacking would come in. No one's at 200 or 300 armor.
Yeah.
Well, they're at 200 armor, but they're not at 300 armor, at least.
260 for Shen, 178, 148, yeah. So, Keletrol still trying to get there as best he can, but not building a lot of damage return. No Thornmail for him, just the Sunfire Cape. Oddly enough, no Frozen Heart at all from Team 8 either, despite the fact that they've got 3 auto-attack focused champions. That feels like a bit of a miscue to me.
Well, no one wants to build Frozen.
Yeah, I mean, none of them use mana. Well, I mean, maybe Dodo tries that instead of going for Mikhail's, I'm not sure, but it just feels like a missed opportunity, mana or not. Either way, the choices they made were for double Randuin's Omen. Of course, if they're the tanks, they still slow attack speed, so it can't be that bad. Calitro's now sent to the bottom lane. They realize Baron up in 2 minutes, so this will push her back to that side of the map. And maybe that works out well, but so far, Calitros is actually getting more pushed around by flares. Seems that the Nautilus is having, generally speaking, minion wave pressure. Porpoise takes basically no damage. The Talisman's popped on all sides. Golden Glue looks for the flank. It's a bit of damage down. Otter trying to run away, and the taunt nearly lands on a body drop. They might kill the Annie off. More flashing out, and a massive set of roots come out of the Varus as Flares is in the back line. Morgana ulti pop to stay alive. Gets stunned up on it in the end, though, and there's the backline push. Body drop gets killed. The armor tanks maybe starting to work out now as exactly who can enemy esports kill. Flares rooted up a great taunt, and Calitros locks in a kill for Nien. Nien still on the chase, but be careful. There's always some counterattack available. Calitros running backwards. 1 for 2 in favor of teammate. The armor stacking starting to pay off.
What a close fight, and surprisingly, teammate takes matters into their own hands. They try to initiate on an enemy. They were tired of getting caught out by all the Talisman and Righteous Glories. Righteous Glories only work in one direction, so it was just a Talisman versus Talisman move speed battle there, plus Sivir, that allowed teammate to barely get a fight there, and they come out on top, 2 for 1.
Watch that fight again. The flank from Golden Glue to help kind of...
Yeah.
And the penalty on the Vlad as well.
Immediately.
In sight.
Yeah, so they use that to try and chain taunts. He doesn't actually get to body drop during the taunt, and the Varus ultimate was super effective, rooting multiple members. Flares with the teleport in at the back as well created that type of chaos. But the main thing is Golden Glue was able to sustain up through the end of it. Nien was not dove on, which was the big risk we saw for Team 8 if enemy actually piled on Nien. But since all their movement speeds were used in retreat, they couldn't use them on the attack front, and Nien ended up doing a lot of damage from the back line.
Yeah, very well done by Team 8. Calitros and Porpoise, if you try to ignore them, they'll just run at your back line and knock them down. Body drop picked off by some good flash dives, and Team 8 can once again feel a little bit better about themselves. Baron is back up on the map, though. All the respawns have come through, and we are sitting on every single ulti for enemy esports. Almost the same here for Team 8. Porpoise and Calitros missing theirs for now.
It's actually very important how well Inox pokes the squishy targets.
Yeah.
Before this fight.
They can lifesteal up on waves, but if there's no time to kill minions, then that poke definitely sticks. But enemy make the rotation to the top lane, and looks like Calitros will stay mid while the rest of the team...
Yep, easy turret.
Is going to try to turn back around. Enemy esports sitting on 6 turrets now to 3. They're winning in globals. They're winning by 4,000 in gold. Dragon 5's in 1:45 seconds. Baron's up.
They're definitely rotating around this map quite well. Calitros, though, by staying mid lane, gets an interior turret. He could always have the option of joining with his Stand United. Ward in the corner there of the Baron. Hello.
He's going to be able to reach the back line. Trashy running away. Flares buys some time by locking down 1. Calitros slowed again. Poked decently by this Varus. Enemy could actually rush for the top lane yet again and dive in for maybe an inhibitor turret, but careful as the recalls come through. Shen is around. Calitros with the ward. Sees what enemy is up to, and the team's going to move towards the mid lane here. Keep in mind, Baron can be rushed down by both these teams. Kallista's good at securing that.
Yeah. The actual DPS on Baron is low from teammate, but the secure is very high. If they could do Baron without taking much damage, the idea is they'd heal for a fight afterwards. It's very dangerous, though, keeping Yen in the Baron pit if enemy could dive on them. Sivir is not up, so the dive isn't as powerful, but both Righteous Glories are off cooldown for enemy, and that's a Talisman.
Are full health for this thanks to the Whirlpool Blades. They jump in on a Flares who is trying to flank, but he's not exactly Hecarim. Stun lands on Golden Glue. They force the Vladimir away a little bit, but he's going to lifesteal tank Flares now. He is safe on this side of the fight. They will knock down the enemy esports top laner. He's crushed off, and no kills come through on the backside. Enemy esports down a kill. Teammate Calitros just zoning the team away. Good play.
It's going to be a barn burner. Dragon in 25 seconds. Very close game right here. 2,500 gold difference. Teammate, they're continuing to pressure this Baron, but if they're not careful, they're just going to give a 5th Dragon to enemy. They may even give up their lives here if they get too low, and if they take too much poke. There's still a Talus, there's still a Righteous Glory on 2 members of enemy for a potential engage.
Now the Binding's going to miss half health now. Body up goes for the hard engage. The end cleanses it away. The fight has begun. Calitros the front line. Otter forced to run as fast as he possibly can. QSS is that one away as well. They're not taking any more damage. Calitros chucks low, goes down to Ricochet. Boomerang Blade comes across well. A 1-for-1, but ooh, Inox knocks the kill through. 2 kills for 2 kills if you count the death on flares.
This is huge right now. Cali Trolls and Golden Glue are down, and look at the size of these minion waves pushing in the base. Instead of going for the 5th Dragon, instead of going for the Baron, enemies looking to pressure these inhibitor turrets.
And they're going to force all of Teammate to respond to that one. The team running back to their base, which now does give room for NME eSports to run towards Dragon. They just made sure Teammate had to defend.
Yep.
Sentinel goes down. This will be Dragon 5 on 4 members as Trashy is still dead. But now that true damage poke is going to mean a whole lot when you're a bunch of stacking armor.
Rotation game again, advantage enemy. Close fight, but too many casualties for Teammate. Teammate needed to win a landslide there if they wanted to get control of Baron or Dragon. And yeah, that's Dragon number 5.
Dragon number 5. So
here.
3 minutes of power. Baron, we know NME eSports is not shy about starting that one. Maybe that comes through in the double global buff. Could mean a ton for NME eSports here.
So aspect of the Dragon, we don't get it that often because usually a team will die trying to stop it from happening. It doubles all the other bonuses, and it also does a 150 true damage burn over 3 seconds on attacks. So no matter how much armor you're stacking, it's really good for tanks to have this buff because it just lets them shred through you. If Inox and Otter do get caught out, the squishies will still die, but for instance, flares can now actually threaten Cali Troll.
You're seeing the damage that true damage burn is doing. 50 damage a second. It's basically Ignite on an auto attack, still landing it. NME eSports find the full collapse, and Cali Troll's taunts in, but will go down. It's a 1-for-0. Top lane not pushing all the way. Keep in mind, Teammate could push in mid. NME eSports have to be careful not to lose this game to a kind of a base race situation. The wave will join them. Teammate will play defense, and the siege might continue once again.
Well, maybe enemy decides to dive through her. That turret is so low. This is at least an inhibitor. What a terrible time to Zonia's.
Golden Glue pops Zonia's, chugs his Ghost, his pool, and tanks a Black Shield, but top lane inhibitor goes down. Still 25 seconds on the Shen respawn. He does have Stand United up. He can join his team at the drop of a hat. Enemy looks like they're rushing right away for this blue buff and maybe even Baron.
Yeah, even with the 5th Dragon buff, maybe Teammate fights this if they can get in quickly. Cali Trolls can ult in 10.
Careful.
And how low can they get flares?
Now the bind drops to about 2/3 off the follow-up. Looks like enemy's going to turn right back around. Golden Glue to buy some time. He does not have Zonia's, though. Goes in towards Inox. The Baron was hitting, and Inox might in fact get himself killed for it. And in fact, the shutdown does come through. Flare's doing some damage to the back lane. Actually, a double kill for the top lane. Nautilus runs away, but Baron kills off Otter. Now Cali Troll's tanking up the Dragon buff champions. Neon back in the fray. Cali Troll's very low, but so is Trashy. A ton of Ren Spears, and a kill comes through. It's a 2-for-4 that Teammate is winning. Minions to the bot lane or not, it means Baron's being attacked. Enemy overstepped their bounds, and Teammate looking to take Baron if they can.
There are 4 waves approximately of minions killing their inhibitor in the bottom lane as well, and they're still fighting against an aspected Annie right now, trying to 2-man the Baron. This is chaos, Freak.
Well, Neon's gonna have like a 7,000 damage Ren. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but still Baron is gonna be almost for sure secured unless Vita Drop goes for it right about now.
He's got to be safe. He's going to wait for it to go low, over-securing with a monstrous Ren. But they lost their second inhibitor.
All right.
While getting Baron.
1 member dead for the Baron buff. That means 4 Barons on Teammate. Their base in shambles, but with no objectives possibly to take for NME eSports, Teammate can basically safely sit in their base, farm up, get their tanks even tankier, and play for that later fight.
Yeah, maybe a 6th Dragon. It still gives them the same 5 Dragon buffs. Because Baron is down, they've got to be cautious about taking fights. If they get aced, it's trouble. Here, Flares is just a little bit overzealous in trying to defend from the Baron, because what enemy wants, they actually do want to 5v5 with Aspect. But Flares takes a bunch of damage, and that leaves the window for Golden Glue to flank. Not to mention, Inox never quite gets out of Baron aggro range. Baron does so much work in this fight.
Yeah.
Notice how Otter comes back. What?
Yep. Baron's still angry. Baron basically did all the damage on both marksmen of NME eSports there. They did not peel away properly. A well-placed flank. And, I mean, a double lifesteal Callista. Good luck killing her when your marksmen are already dead.
Very true. Now it's a battle of how well Teammate can defend these 2 downed inhibitors.
I actually don't like Inox's choice of going for his magic for this item right now. He went for the Maw of Malmortius. I actually think he needs Infinity Edge to be a consistent damage dealer. Getting through tanks is actually a big deal here. And it's basically the same cost. He'd have Infinity Edge right now if he went for it.
Thing is, he's worried about getting one-shot by Golden Glue, which is basically what happened last fight, even with the Maw.
Yeah.
Again, though, Calitroll's on the side. He cannot get picked off yet again.
A hard dive in towards Golden Glue, who's forced to run. Shendel popped onto him, but the re-dive of Porpoise pops. The thing is, Porpoise is alone. He goes in to get himself killed. Another one for 0. Baron buff on teammate or not. It's 50 seconds with 2 inhibs down.
Exactly what you don't want to happen when you're downed inhibitors. You have to shrink your potential faults in those situations. Do not be far away from the base, but enemy catches Porpoise and Cali away from the base, meaning they now have a numbers advantage to pick up a 3rd inhibitor.
3rd inhib is absolutely massive. Top one will respawn soon enough, but for now, the hard dive on towards Otto. They try to blow up Saber. Spell Shield and flash away. Does block a spell. Still, the very disruptive Flare is going to get stunned up by Dodo, killed off by Nian. Golden Glue Zonies and buys some more time. 3 kills picked up by teammate. This game constantly back and forth. Fantasy owners be happy about this one as Body Drop runs away.
How long is their Baron buff up for? They have about 20 seconds. If the Baron buff lasted until they made it to the Nexus turrets, they might be able to do it because Inox couldn't shove through. They're going to try to get at least an inhibitor off of this one because they had so many people stay alive. And
they could try to win the game. Keep in mind, Porpoise could join the team.
Yep. Or he might need to help out with the 2 down inhibitors, even with just these 3. Calitrolls could join the team, or Porpoise could join the team. If they wanted to, if they get a window, they could have a 5-man dive onto the base. With about 20 or so seconds to try and win, I think they should be happy with just the inhibitor since they know they'll be superior in real team fights.
Ooh, I'm surprised they didn't push for a bit more, but I guess there was no wave left. Inox cleared it away, and it is going to be defense. Top inhib's going to respawn, I'm going to say, in under a minute here.
And they can get their first Dragon.
Yeah. Dragon's alive right now. 8 seconds on the major respawns here, and there comes Golden Glue and Nian. Safe and clean and easy. Dragon number 1 finally in for teammate. A huge surge of stats this late into the game. Woo. And maybe the late game scaling is finally ticking in. Overzealousness by NME eSports gave teammate just enough chances to come through.
The inhibitors are respawning for teammate as well. NME may have missed their chance. But with all of the building destruction they've done out to this point, and all the times they've been able to catch teammate out, if they just catch teammate out one more time, it could lead to victory. But at this point, if one fight goes wrong, it's over.
There's even some good wards down for teleports and whatnot. The flanks can definitely happen. Calitroll's looking to clear wards away. Defensive pink ward's going to make that happen. It wants to keep their banners alive today. Keep that base up. Top inhib has respawned. Bot probably in 2 minutes, minute and a half maybe. And they've stopped the push. 2 inhibs to 1, still the status. No globals up for a while now. Dragon 5 minutes away. Baron about 3.
Yeah.
This means you're just playing minion waves and base defense.
Thornmail, very important onto Calitrolls.
Falcon Ascension used doesn't find anything though. They don't go in for the push. NME eSports still trying to play poke. Double Quicksilver Sash on them. Triple upgraded Trinket on one side, double on the other for extra wards here. Another cooldown popped. Righteous Glory by the Annie. Binding hits flares. Maybe that's a bit of a window in. A good amount of damage can be dealt. Calitrolls barely feels the poke back from NME eSports. And can always heal back up. He gets 21 health a second while under the effects. Buttered Up goes in, does not find the sun on the end.
That's dangerous.
Gonna ult in Dota. This could be the fight that wins teammate the game. The hard dive comes in. Calitrolls in the front lines. The kill already comes through to flares. Inox getting chased around. Trashy can't go much of anywhere except back. An axe to buy some time, but teammate are in control.
They only get 1 thanks to enemies disengaged, but Porpoise is on the hunt.
To win the game for teammate, Porpoise pushed around a little bit, but one more tunnel could get him the kill on a Trashy. Black Shield's on a little bit too late. The stun's gonna buy some time. Enemy needs to heal though. Keep in mind the inhibitor is dead. Calitrolls does not have flash to land a chain.
Oof. Just trying to close distance.
This might use by Trashy to buy some time as well.
They still only have a 1 number advantage. They're maybe gonna try to push with these super minions, but it would be too dangerous to push in against 4 people. A near miss, but the game goes on.
But we are now only a minute away from Baron respawning. They've got a 30-second window from flares coming back up to Baron being a viable target. Teammate can play the vision game right now, set up a death brush for a binding or a Shen taunt to kill off NME eSports. Certainly teammate are in control right now.
I'm not sure what prompted it, but there is a spectator bug right now. 5 Dragons are not active on NME. They only have 4. So just pointing that out right now. NME on 4 Dragons does not have the aspect buff. The next Dragon or Baron is quite critical. NME kind of on their back foot now with all the inhibitors being respawned. You really saw the power of Golden Blue in that last fight.
5 alive, 20 seconds on Stand United. No teleport for Cali Trolls. There's the ulti, and they're going to look for Trashy. Takes a ton of damage even through the ulti. And 2 ults down, in fact, as the Chain of Corruption also used. But that means more map control for teammate. Trashy has to heal. He's got home guards, but he's going to give a lot of room over to teammate who are going to knock down another turret here. Top lane tier 2 could die easily. All 3 of teammate's inhibitors are back up. A big minion wave grouping in the bot lane, so that's going to siege properly as well for teammate. Top lane just got pushed in. Mid lane is fine for them with the inhibitor down. And now's the Baron attempt. Keep in mind,
now they dare for Baron. Yep. They can actually kill it pretty quickly now. They know that Olaf is going to be in the base coming out with home guards. They peel for a really early fight.
This goes for the flank. Baron secured cleanly by Nien. And the battle begins. Dodo buys a lot of time. It's a 2-man stun here. Locks up body drop. And Flair's forced to run. The tank not tanky enough. Nien is still on the chase. Golden Glue gets the kill. A 1 for 0. What can enemy even find? Golden Glue flashes to find more. Engages. Enemy forced to run away from this one. Calitros lands the taunt. Body drop forced to run. This could be the fight that wins teammate the game. They've got their second kill in, still chasing towards the back line as that's going to be 3 kills and 4 kills, and Inox, the last man alive. They can leave him up. Who cares? Tell the rest of your friends that teammate's going for the base.
Oh man, 4 down for NME. Porpoise Rek'Sai's back to come back from aspect of the Dragon. So many misplays by teammate in this game, but they grit through it here. Now with the Baron buff, 4 people still alive, and only Inox trying to defend. They're going for the win.
There's almost no chance Inox defends this one in the 1v4. Waiting for the minion wave. Here they go with the Baron buff for Nexus turret number 1. Claimed easily. Calitrol's on the hunt. Yeah, good luck with that one.
You cannot touch him. This is what we thought would happen with the armor stacking, and it finally did.
And it happened after all. It took turret number 1, turret number 2, 49-minute win, but that's going to be the game. Teammate and get their 3rd win of the split by knocking down NME eSports.
Whew. 48 minutes, nearly 49. Cali Trolls knows that there are many improvements for the team, shaking his head after that victory. But guess what? It's still a victory. And they're now 3-7. They're ahead of NME in the standings. They've 2-0'd them on the split.
Yeah.
And they still have the rest of the split to grow.
And teammates sit now tied in wins with Cloud9. They are down 0-1 in that head-to-head. Maybe a matchup that's going to be important for these guys as well, but teammate are now in control of their own destiny for hitting a 7th place spot. Only 2 wins behind Impulse for a playoff spot as well. Certainly not out of reach either. They'll play them later on in the split. And teammate improving a little bit here. Nien, the new AD carry, came in after week 1, 11, 2, and 10. 21 of the 24 kills he was a part of, only 2 deaths. Definitely a massive factor for the team as well. He went largely untouched. The dive couldn't reach him. Dodo peeled for him properly. Calitros and Porpoise frontlined well. The armor stacking paid off, and teammate took a good win.
Yeah. Even though, because there were so many team fights, the damage numbers in this game are absolutely absurd. But if we talked about comparing physical and magic damage just at some point in the game. 93,000 physical damage dealt to 42,000 magic damage dealt. That was the distribution for NME.
Yeah,
so with the armor stack, even with the armor stacking, they're still dealing at least
more than
66% of their damage being physical.
Yeah.
Much better spread and team composition for teammate. So history teacher can be happy about that draft phase. Definite things to improve upon with the in-game strategy and execution mainly.
Yeah. We come into this one with a strong showing at the end of it all for teammate. I definitely agree. There were a lot of mistakes back and forth there. I think both teams could have had the game easily under control. Teammate, if they play slowly and safely, the game looks like it does at the 40-minute mark here, where they just can't die anymore, and Callista's safe. And eSports, though, had so many opportunities. A Baron buff, Dragon 5, a 5v4 with late game scaling in and overstepping their bounds. I mean, good tenacity by teammate to break through those difficult situations.
Definitely a game that could have gone either way.
Oh, absolutely.
There were multiple opportunities for both these teams to win. It's one of those wins that it's one of those losses that really stinks.
Yeah.
Because you know you had the game in hand, and that could be all too common for